Michelle Gray at thehealing-art.com. Yay, I got it right.
Yay, hello.
And thank you for agreeing to give just a short little testimonial. I did some scalar energy work. Well, Eric and the rest of the divine team and little old me did it. And I just want to know your results, good or bad, just honest truth.
Yeah, it's absolutely my pleasure to be here because it's, and I know you've said this before where you says like, is it too good to be true? Like, could this really be happening? And I've got to tell you the biggest thing, and this is something that I haven't told you yet, the biggest change that's happened to me. So I'm going to lead with this first of all. So I was diagnosed with spinocerebellar ataxia in 2003. And the reason why I was diagnosed at that time, because it's actually a disease that it runs in my family, and it's something that usually doesn't show itself until middle age and older, but it started to show symptoms in me after my first daughter in my early 20s. And part of that was just I had a lot of stress. And I think with all the other things that I know now, just, within my body was just something that was taking place a little earlier. So one thing that I have had a challenge with for many, many years, which has really, it had increased in this last 2-year period to the point where over the last 8 months, it was enough to kind of be in my mind each day, which was the dizziness.
Oh.
And because ataxia is the shrinking of the cerebellum over time, so it affects your balance, your speech, and that sort of thing. Well, the dizziness was happening where I would turn my head really quick, even if I was driving, and I'd look over my shoulder and I'd get this really weird kind of spinny feeling. And when I would wake up in the morning, if we have a window behind our bed, and if I would reach up to just slide the window, I would get this whole like,
oh no, that's not
to get
good when
spinning.
you're driving.
No, it's not. So I was always very careful. Like if I didn't feel well, if I was tired, I didn't drive or I didn't do certain things. Well, I have to tell you, so you did this work on me last week and also on my dad. Now my dad's in much more progressed, like his disease is in a completely different state than mine. And so he's yet to really feel, although I see things in him that he hasn't seen himself yet. But for me, I have not had one day of dizziness for an entire week. Not one. Like look, like I can turn my head.
Oh
I
my
can
God.
that is I can't even begin to tell you how huge that is, because that tells me something very important, because that's what had progressed in me was at a stage where this disease had no cure.
Yeah.
There was no medication you could take, anything. It was all, tailored by your lifestyle and that sort of thing. So this is huge. This is absolutely huge.
Let's ask Eric, is this a cure? And if so, I mean, if it can work on spinal cord, cerebellum, etc., maybe, I have trials for paraplegics and quadriplegics that I'm in the midst of. Maybe that will work too.
Yes, because he's saying that particularly with the ataxia, he says it's DNA, it's genetic, it's hereditary, and he's talking about it going through like it mutating over generations. And so he said that that's why it's not a very common disease. They even couldn't isolate the gene for a very long time, but he said yes. And he's also just answering about what we were saying about my dad and saying that for him, and we know this because you had talked to me about this, that it will take longer for him to see the results, that there's a little more work to be done, but he's having a lot of releasing right now. And what's really interesting is both of us are experiencing itchiness in our right on our rib cage in the same spot, in the front and in the back. And we have very, very similar skin, and both of us are very in tune to spirit, and we have a lot of similarities. So I'm really documenting everything that we're noticing. So the other thing is, of course, the weight optimization, amongst many other things that were done. My energy, there's a definite change in my energy. So I feel I haven't used Motrin in a week, which I was using Motrin every day because I had some pain in my wrist.
Yeah.
So I haven't touched the Motrin for a week, which is huge. Staying up later at night because I am an early bird. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and start doing my stuff. I know, I'm weird, but that's my quiet time.
That is good.
So Yeah, that's what I've always done. But now I've been staying up later and actually sleeping a little bit later in the morning. So things are balancing a little bit differently. But the cravings, so I was having cravings for sugar, and sugar was my biggest thing.
Yeah.
So my cravings for sugar were coming up at like 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So I was not too bad during the day, but 8, 9 o'clock at night, I'd be like, oh, okay, I really want some sugar. And so that has not been there. In fact, what it's been replaced with is a craving for water. And right now it's been oranges for the past couple weeks.
Interesting.
Tons of oranges and tangerines. The
Yeah.
other change, which is quite substantial, is coffee,
Mm.
because I'm a big coffee drinker. I really love my coffee, but
Mhm.
I was having up to, and Eric was after me with this, because every time I'd have a cup of coffee before about to channel, he'd be like, knock off the coffee, knock off the coffee. So I was up to 4 cups of coffee a day, which was too much, and they were not small cups of coffee.
Yeah.
And so for the past week, I have been 1 cup of coffee, not finishing that cup of coffee in the morning, and going to water, like about 5
That's,
of these a day,
that's awesome.
and wanting it. It's not something that I'm like saying, oh, I've got to have another glass of water. I'm thirsty. And Eric says it's because I'm flushing. I'm doing a lot of flushing. And since that visit, because I was in the hospital there with that rash a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
he said that this has been all timely. So he said all of that was to help happen for me to, he said, I needed to have some sort of reaction to get the ball rolling to help do some more work so I could do this big release. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
all had,
People should, when they get Atlantic scalar work, energy work, they should drink a lot of water. That's what
yes,
everybody says. They get so thirsty, and I probably should put it down. But y'all, you hear it from me now, and you hear it from Michelle.
yes.
Got to drink a lot. So, well, you will want to drink a lot of water.
You will. And Eric says that it's like all the toxins that we're releasing,
Wow.
not just from he says not just from like in our like the environment, from the foods that we've been eating,
Yeah.
like it's in our skin, it's in our system, and our organs are rejuvenating.
Yeah.
So there's so much. The other thing is I went to the doctor yesterday.
Mhm.
Actually, I've been to the doctor twice this week, and my first doctor had seen my liver enzymes were like off the charts, and he said they were
Yeah.
3.5 times higher than what the normal
Yeah.
level should have been. And this is when I was in the hospital. So
Yeah.
they've been monitoring my enzymes, and they dropped so quick. So you did scalar work on me that very next day after my enzymes were so high, and they're all back to normal. And
Just well,
they're
it's
like, how did that happen? So
well, organ rejuvenation is what is in the script. Also, with the spinocerebellar ataxia, genetic, stopping harmful genetic expression is. There are so many pages to this thing that takes care of everything. Now I find out. I said, "What do you want to? We got stuff in." And by the way, we're testing. I'm going to work on Marcus's autism, your son,
yes,
Monday. And so we got a lot of things in testing. It's like, come on, Eric, let's get them going. Whatever. Nope, you don't want to release those yet. So, well, what do you want to release this weekend? He spells out bed bugs and mold. So I don't know.
oh,
I know. Cool.
interesting.
Just
Like, this
destroy
is
the
fascinating.
DNA. Destroy the DNA of the mold. Destroy the DNA of the bed bugs, and we'll see.
I got to tell you too, because Eric was talking to me this morning about just about the scalar works. I'm just so fascinated and just so drawn to it, and so pumped up about it. And Eric just said, this is so groundbreaking. And he says not only for us as humanity in our communities, our families, but he says for the work with you, like, and he was showing me a timeline of progression of all of these changes and what's been changing in you, and how your healing is just going to new levels and changing at all times. So I mean, like, I can't even tell people enough, look and understand energy. If you don't understand how this works, understand how energy works, how healing works, and research scalar energy, because this is phenomenal. Like, it
Yeah,
is just,
Eric and the tall white Adrian, he said
yes,
this is going to be the new way of healing everything. I mean,
yes,
cystic fibrosis, and I just
getting to the root. It's
Yeah.
getting to the root of everything.
Energy, and everything is energy. We are energy, and energy can be manipulated by scalar energy. So all I
Yeah.
need is biofield associated with the person's name and a intent script, which is thought creates reality kind of thing. And
Yeah.
God, it just seems to be working. Now, yesterday I did something called a retrograde integration, because there are some people. I mean, part of the thing has always script has always been to revoke all revocable contracts, but it did not cover revoking irrevocable contracts, which can impede success. But talk to Archangel Michael, my bud, and he said almost every thing that you put on your plate, a contract that you said this is going to be irrevocable during this incarnation, he can revoke. So I put that in the language for him to revoke everything that's has been labeled as irrevocable, but they've honored that lesson and it's time to move on. So I did something called a retrograde integration, which integrates that into all prior energy work from the very first month and first day in October that I started this. So all you guys who have had this work may see more than, I mean, if you've had partial success, you will see 100% success. There, he said there's been nobody that has had an absolutely irrevocable contract so far. Of course, there probably will be. Also, I want people to know that this takes time, like the weight optimization. You're not going to, y'all aren't going to be 110 pounds next week. I mean, it does take time. We work on the insulin receptors and insulin release and all sorts of stuff as part of that. And anyway, so that's so encouraging. I think this is more healing for me than this whole thing. It makes me feel, because I've always felt like, are you kidding me? What? No, I mean, could this really be? Because I don't want anybody to be disappointed. And and Eric said, "Yep, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. Put this out there. Put this out there." But are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? It's been
that's the thing. And Eric is the truth teller. I'll tell you. Like, he doesn't mess around. He does not mess
Part
around.
of me is saying, am I reading Eric right? Maybe maybe I'm anyway. So that's good. There's hope for all of us, guys. I told.
Well, another thing Eric's saying too.
Yeah.
He's saying what you were just saying about the irrevocable contracts, because he said sometimes, like, some people will be saying in their head right now, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. Or we can't go in and touch things that other people don't know about. And this, that, and Eric says, I want you to remember that consciousness expands. So not only us as human beings, but in spirit too, there is expansion and growth. So when people have rules in their head of what we can and can't do, that's based in a consciousness that they're at. It expands and we grow. So never get stuck on a specific rule or this isn't possible. Just like, well, wait a minute, how can Eric be an archangel? I didn't think that was possible. He says it's the same thing. He goes, don't get stuck on the rules, people. He says, expand, think outside of the box.
Anyway, we make the rules. We're the ones that decide in with this contract or that, and this can be revoked and that can be revoked. I mean, there's no, Supreme Court would say, okay, here's your contracts and these are irrevocable. You cannot do anything about that. These are revocable.
That's right.
No,
we are the Supreme Court. We are.
We decide. I want that. I don't want to stutter anymore. If that's an irrevocable contract, revoke it. Revoke it. For sure.
That's right.
I got somebody on the stuttering, so that's cool. All right. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Y'all go to atlantis.com. And, we have a lot of studies going on that we're testing a lot. Parkinson's, there's just a bunch of stuff, but it's going to take a while to release those, the ones for diabetes 1 and all that. But, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel so you can find out what comes up next. And also when I call out for volunteers. Now, volunteers, they have to have had super portal work because, I'd want to revoke contracts and all that stuff. But also they have to agree to do what Michelle just did. It's like either make a video on your own or have an interview with me about it, and truthful stuff. I don't want to no sugar.
As one thing I say, I couldn't do this work, and I've said this to many of my clients before. I couldn't channel what I do and do this work if I didn't walk this stuff every day. if I didn't experience it. If my heart wasn't into it, you wouldn't see me here doing it.
Oh, and you
And
are
that's the
so young.
bottom line.
Yeah. Y'all check her out. She is one of the best, maybe the best. I mean, she is so good. So check her out at thehealing-art.com. We'll put this in the description box. And all right, I love you, Michelle. I love
I
you.
love you too.
And
Eric
let
says,
me
I
know
love
how
you too,
Doug
Mom.
does as time goes on.
I
Oh, and
will.
also,
I will.
I also heard that this really cool about pets. All right, so Rudy's been noticing, my husband's noticing that Bella, when he takes her outside in the morning, she gallops back to my room. She never does that. She's an old lady kind of stuff. And so she's got, like, did the age regression. I did it on y'all's dog, his
Well,
dog.
that's and I'll say that too, because I mentioned this in our video with the tall white the other day, but just to say, because this is just unbelievable. My mom left the other day, so they have 3 dogs. A little dog just like Bella, and then they have a little oh gosh, I can't even remember the name, but anyway, little dogs. Little dog. So anyway, the one dog that they have, their oldest one, is 16 years old. His name is Wally. Okay, so Wally is a hilarious dog, but he's really slowed down in the last year and had some problems and sleeping all day, and he's an old man, right? So he's just kind of, so after you did the work, okay, so what day was it? It was Monday, I think, that you did the work.
Yeah,
and
Monday the 5th.
Tuesday, my mom went to take her other dog to go get their hair cut, and my dad has a caregiver that stays in the house to help him. Well, she got out her camera and had to record because she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Wally gets up, he was howling like a puppy, like happy, and going, oh, carrying on, running through the house and trying to get up on my dad's lap, pawing at my dad, and just like when he was a puppy, and it hasn't stopped. So I was just talking to my mom this morning, and she's like, I have never seen anything like it. She's like, it's like he's a new dog. It's unbelievable.
So cool. I don't think I specifically did the age regression on the dogs. I just did the super portal work. But if you give me their names, I'll do the age regression too, just on
all right,
whoever.
well, whatever it's doing, it's working.
Awesome. All right, I love you guys.
Hey, love you everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye.
you.